How's Austin Bolt been looking?
He had a nice day out there. Today was the first day he's been full go and got in there. 25% of the reps were working him back in, and he made the most. He had a few nice catches today, a couple explosive plays, especially in the on the vertical pass.
What does he need to do to take that next step and be a contributor for this team?
Just be consistent, just like a lot of the other guys. I mean, that's what spring ball is about, building the confidence, be consistent with the execution. And, he's doing a nice job when he has been out there in terms of being able to win one-on-ones and being on the same page with the quarterbacks.
Do you think
we're
JUCO
guys out there? How are your expectations different for them versus maybe a grad transfer or especially a true freshman?
You know what? I mean, for all the new guys, it's a lot. It's a lot on their plate. We're not just talking about schemes. There's a lot of situations. All the situations are in play now, and so understanding how the schemes, what schemes are being called in certain situations and how those schemes are adjusted in certain situations. It's a lot on them, but collectively for the new 11 new guys on the team, it has been exciting to see those guys out there. Dramatic difference, providing depth, guys that are going to have a chance to play and help. Obviously, we got a lot of time between now and when that first game is. There's a lot of things to be sorted out, and a lot of work to be done, but very impressed with what that group of guys are doing.
It's so clear how competitive JL is and how much he wants out of himself and out of the team. I mean, do you ever have to tame that, or is it kind of one of those things you just let go?
No. He knows the line to stay on, and he's going to walk it, and that's what we want. He's out there having fun. He's out there working on his craft, and that's the competitive nature we want at practice. He's brought a good vibe this spring. He's worked extremely hard with a lot of the little pieces of his game that may not show up to everyone's eye, but he's invested himself in getting better this spring, both mentally and physically, and out there with his mouthpiece talking to the other side.
To compare where you were this time a year ago, Andy, how much more confident are you right now with the team?
Yeah, they're just like we spoke about a lot last year, just reestablishing the foundation. This is a sport that requires a certain mentality and a certain physicality, and the way both sides of the ball are playing right now, their understanding and expectation of how the game should and can be played, and having fun doing it, just like with guys like JL. And it's not only JL, there's a lot of guys out there that are doing a much better job. But just from an overall organizational standpoint too, with the structures in place, and we're extremely efficient with our operation and the things we're doing, and providing the resources for the players to keep developing both in the classroom, off the field. And obviously we got to finish this spring ball strong, and we got about a week and a half left here, and excited to see how the guys take it one practice at a time.
We're obviously here for Pro Day, and Khalil is the main guy off last year's roster. My untrained eye, looking at this year's roster, the 2022 roster, there could be 8 to 10 NFL guys. Do you look at that and at least identify it, even if it's not a priority for you?
No, we definitely, I'm going to be honest with you guys, we're not going to have those conversations with you guys. You know that, Mike, but we have it with our players. It's an understanding between us. We keep it tight and make sure that we're organized in what we're doing, and making sure that the guys understand, well, what does it look like? What did it look like for Shaq last year at this time? Those are conversations behind the scenes, and we are going to have a lot of guys that are participating in this event next year.
Do you see a lot of NFL talent on this year's roster then?
There's no question. Yeah, there's a lot of talent on this roster, and there's guys that are developing and that have already made a huge jump through the 9 practices in spring ball. And it's not only that, it's the winter conditioning and studying film and building their knowledge of the game and their position. And we have 4 more months for these guys to continue to grow and improve. And so that number, is it going to be, do we feel very confident about that? That's what we've been aiming to do, is build depth, not just in the fronts, but at all positions.
Do you see 10 plus NFL guys on this roster?
It can be, only time will tell. I don't ever want to put a number on that, but only time could tell. Yeah, it could be.
Being 9 practices in, who are a couple of guys that have stood out to you?
That's you know what, BJ, it's a long list. Like today was a great practice because it went back and forth. There were explosive plays on offense. Like we talked about, Bolt made a few plays back out there today. George on offense. Ashton had a couple good runs in short yardage situations today. Ran over some defenders in certain situations today. It was good to see a freshman be able to run behind his pads like that. Hank made some great plays in situationals that we had today. But you know, it's awesome to see Kay Connie back out there as well. His presence and his leadership, and the control and the demand he takes on the field, he helps Hank with that stuff. Defensive side of the ball, I mean, the two safeties have been pretty dominant. You know, Ty and JL. It's fun to watch them play out there. The defensive front, the depth is there, the talent's there. We got a lot of work to keep doing with those guys. They know we're not going to be satisfied with what we've done or who we are. We got a lot of work left to do, even with the guys that have done well. Our goal is to find the little things that we can continue to improve upon to build a better consistency than what we did last year, whether it be from practice to practice, game to game, and the guys are taking that to heart. So we're going to continue to stay the course and keep working hard through the remainder.
Looking at what you've seen in the spring, what do you think are going to be the strengths of this team based on what you've seen through now?
You know what? The defensive front is definitely going to be one of the strengths of the team for sure. We feel pretty good about the depth at running back and the talent we have there. The quarterback position, you know, the guys that we got there with Hank and that are competing, you know, Sam, Talon, those guys are doing a great job as well. They've made some really impressive plays. And there's some wide receivers. I know we've got some guys that we're obviously going to miss with Shaq and Teddy, but we've got some guys that are stepping up that were in the folds maybe a little bit last year that are ready to go. So,
When you look at Cortez Hogan, where does he add to this defensive line rotation?
you know what? Number one, flexibility. He has a great football IQ. And he's got tremendous talent. Now, there's things that come along with playing at this level that he's figuring out and learning, but he is a very smart and determined young man, and we're excited about, you know, where he is at right now, knowing that he has time to keep growing in which he needs to.
At nickel, I mean, who do you think could kind of step up this year and, you know, really replace what you're missing?
Yeah, so, you know, Shea Oladipo's getting a lot of work there at nickel. Ty Jones has played nickel too. That's impressive when Ty Jones slides in there and plays a little nickel as well. So that's a position where, you know, there's gonna be competition all the way through, you know, all the way up until the first game, and we get to see, you know, who rises from that.
This might be another one to pinpoint, Andy. Do you have a favorite moment of spring ball so far, whether it be a player, something in the locker room, anything that stands out to you so far?
Oh, there's so many, to be honest with you, Jay. Just even from today's practice. Last practice, so I'll tell you what, one of my favorite moments was a guy that's kind of on the shelf, as we spoke about this spring, and has just come back into being able to do individual and group periods. He jumped into a quarterback competition in the last practice and sunk about a 15-yard pass into a barrel, and that was Garrett Curran, which you would not expect, but I guess he's played a little baseball, so he's got an arm, you know. But just the fun moments like that, the things we've been able to see. In the first scrimmage, there was some highlights on both sides of the ball. You know, we went on spring break. One of the favorite things overall that I will pinpoint is how the guys came back in practice on Monday after being on spring break. The energy, the purpose was different. It was certainly different out there, like no other. And that's been the best moment of spring ball so far, to see how the guys came back ready to go. Now, how consistent can we do that through the remaining practices?